Okay, it's Mike with Olo Builders. We have Chris, the water doctor himself. If you guys remember, we talked about doing a video at SCBC. Well, we decided to get a brand new camera that day, and it was all bad. So we're meeting with all the vendors from that day that we met that were really cool, and they're gonna give us a little bit about what they do. So Chris, tell us about what you guys do and some of the products that we have here.
Yeah, so I own a company called Pure Infinity Group, and we are a water filtration company. We are a dealer. We represent a few different manufacturers for residential products here in the Central Florida area. We have an office in South Florida, an office here in Central Florida, and then we have a couple of warehouses that we use also for our inventory for distributing products like this. We're in a customer's home today where we recently did an install on one of our top-of-the-line systems. This is a Vesta whole house water filtration. This is a twin tank system. The big feature with twin tank is it's 24/7 continuous supply of filtered water into the home. You may have seen single tanks in other solutions, but a single tank would definitely have to go into a back recharge, regeneration it's called, and while it's doing that, the system is in bypass. So the way we avoid having to put a system in bypass, we can have two tanks. When one tank is operational, the other tank is in a hold. When this tank is done and ready for regen, we switch to this tank automatically, and you get continuous supply of filtered water into the whole house.
And we were talking off camera, so a single tank is what most people consider based on cost and things like that. And so when they're doing a single tank, you said it goes into regen, so it's gonna filter out all the material, make sure it's all clean, and it'll push all that outside through a drain. And if with one tank, it's doing that every 8 days approximately?
Roughly, it's more metered to the amount of gallons being used, so that way it's not doing it unless it needs to, and that's based on water consumption, water usage in the home. So roughly about 2,200, these are larger tanks, so probably closer to 2,600 gallons before it needs to go into its operational regen. A single tank works, by and large, most of our products go in as single tanks. This is an upgrade to have that secondary backup tank, a second basic set of filters.
So you're just, because the biggest problem with when it's in regen, you're getting unfiltered water into the house. It bypasses the system.
Right, the system has to be cleaned. It uses a saltwater solution from this tank. This is a salt storage tank, but it creates a brine, salt solution at the bottom, which is drawn into this tank. This tank uses that salt water to refresh the media inside the tank. The salt water does not go into the home, but just like brushing your teeth, you're rinsing out the water with the toothpaste. The machine is basically doing the same thing. We're rinsing out everything that the machine and the media inside has collected, and we're flushing that out through a series of backwash and filtration changes through a drain line that in this home goes through the wall and then back outside to a main drain. And this is city water, so it goes into the city sewer. But the twin tank advantage, again, when this tank goes into bypass for its cleaning function, which is about every 8 days roughly, this system switches over to the alternative tank and continues the supply of filtered water into the home versus being in bypass.
Happens through this bypass valve up here.
It does happen on the top.
All that's controlled through this controller.
All that's controlled there automatically. All the programs are set based on the size of the house, number of bathrooms, gallons being used. You've got a bypass control lever here. If there's a problem with the system, a customer can shut it into bypass. The water continues into the home, not being filtered. As long as everything is functioning properly, it's going through the filters.
And so, in the rare case, but depending on how you live your life, with a single unit, you may say you wake up to, at 3 o'clock, right? Some people, that you're setting that time, 3 o'clock in the morning. If you wake up to get a glass of water, at that moment, it's unfiltered water.
Yeah, so that's something to consider, your lifestyle choices. And then also, frequently, we have pilots and flight attendants who have their schedules and their hours are a little bit different. And they do want that filtered water coming in. They don't want it interrupted, so twin tank is a good option for not interrupted. But also, can you set that timer to go off at midnight? Because I'm usually, we don't get home till 2 or, whatever the thing is. So depending on those lifestyles, we can adjust that timing to the convenience of the client. For sure, but it does go into when they do go into regen, it's about a 90-minute cycle. flushing out the tank, and then before it goes back into service mode, it's in bypass for about 90 minutes. So 3 in the morning, most people, not a problem. Hour and a half, it's in bypass once a week, and you're not in the shower at 3 in the morning, it's going to be fine. But if that's a thought, then we go to a 2-tank system.
And this is a setup for city water, depending on where you are, right? We looked at a bunch of wells with you. Is this a similar system to a well?
So, sort of. We're performing similar functions. The primary function is to remove hardness.
Okay.
On a well water, we're removing hardness, and the water here in Florida has a tremendously high hardness level, very, very corrosive, and can get buildup and film, and the fixtures can be destroyed with all the various buildup from the carbon and the magnesium that's in the water. So the filtration system on a city water usually does a little bit more. We're probably also filtering for possibly iron.
Okay.
We're also possibly filtering for manganese, but there can be other contaminants in the water that we want to filter out. On a well system, we might have one tank doing one function, another tank doing another function. We have several systems where we've had 3 tanks. We might have to add chlorine as a disinfectant on a well system. We might have to do RO to reduce the total dissolved solids that are in a typical well situation. Remember, on well water, nothing else is touching that water. It's coming into your house raw. So we're the only filtration. If there's a lot to do, we might need a little bit larger system. So, but for city water, we're usually good with a setup like this.
Yeah, it seems pretty simple, but even with city water, you're still doing a test on it to verify what you need, because you might have, I know downtown Claremont just redid all their piping from cast iron to a PEX-based system. In the cast iron, you're getting 60 years of dissolved metal through it, and you're testing to determine what that is.
Absolutely, and that's in the TDS, total dissolved solids, and we're removing those from the water. The water softening does not remove TDS, but on city water, that's typically not an issue. It's usually in a normal range. Anything below 400 is okay for humans, so we don't really have to worry about that. Well water, we can run into levels significantly higher than that, and we do want to address that if that's the case. So, yeah, and that's kind of the difference between a dealer and maybe buying one online or buying a system from a retail big box store or somewhere. They're available everywhere, so finding them is not a problem. But dealing with a certified water specialist from the WQA company, dealing with somebody that just does the water filtration, we come out to every home and every property we do, and we test the water. We have a field test kit that our guys, myself, we can use, and then if it needs to go beyond that, we have third-party lab testing.
Yep.
Frequently we'll do that with well water, and that third-party lab testing is a 35-page report and a detailed analysis of everything that's in that water, and that's going to allow us to filter for exactly what's in there. You're not getting that type of filtration from something off the shelf, either from Amazon, from an online supplier, or from a retail supplier. So that's kind of a big difference, to have that water being specifically treated and matched, the media inside the tank matched to the lifestyle within the home, number of people, number of bathrooms, usage, to the water technology and ingredients that we've tested.
And so you cater the system specifically to the customer's needs. Obviously, in larger community basis that you're doing, you have a good idea of what that water is coming in from the main line, and you're creating a kind of solution for all.
Typically, we're going to know if it's a production neighborhood where there's 300-400 homes going up. We have a pretty good sense of what that water supply is coming in. However, we still test each and every property.
Oh, wow, cool.
Yeah, because we're going to match the equipment to that water tested. You're right, we kind of know what we're dealing with on the city water, and that happens regularly, so we kind of know.
And so in this system here, we've got the 2 tanks, your salt, and then this is something that we haven't even talked about before, is a UV filter. I had a pond in Pennsylvania, and the guy who built the pond, it was a little pond, but he had one of these on there. It's a really cool addition. So what are the benefits of having a UV filter, and is it before or after it goes towards the house?
So it's become super popular. Before or after doesn't matter.
Okay.
The way it works is there's a UV bulb inside this tube that when it's on, it disrupts the DNA in a microorganism. So we're eliminating, killing germs, disease, COVID. Since COVID, we've seen an absolute total increase in our sales, unit sales, adding the UV filter. It's a fairly new technology to add to water filtration, but again, since we all had to kind of go through that whole COVID mess, we've seen this come to a very, very popular item for us to do. It's an upgrade, it's an add-on, it's an additional, it's not something we tell you need, but it is something that we offer. It takes that next level of purity into your water by eliminating germs through UVC lighting.
Yeah, when you showed it to us, I was like, what is this? It's really neat. I didn't know if it had to be before or after, so it's cool to find out that you can put it either place.
Yeah.
Two kind of other things I wanted to talk through is, before we talk about in the house, let's talk about what you need, your builder, or what you need to put the system in. So what are the requirements to have this, and how hard is it if they don't have those two items? I know
very, very great question. There's a few things that we need in place from the builder as we go into installing. We can of course retrofit into a home,
yep.
But when we're building a new home, what we want to have is a loop, which is the primary water supply into the house. The plumber has provided us access to that primary water with a loop back here along the wall somewhere.
Okay.
That's our plumber's loop. We need a power outlet nearby,
right here,
near the equipment. And we need usually a pad or something to mount the equipment on for stability. It is plumbed in, but we do want to have, we don't want to just set it on the ground and have it fall apart.
Is there like a little plate that's behind this decorative cover?
The tank itself is behind the cover, which you've seen like a wound fiberglass, kind of a round tank.
Yep.
That's what's underneath this. This is a decorative cover, and a protective cover, yeah, so you can bang into this and not the tank itself.
Yeah.
But we're very lucky in this home. We're fortunate the Florida sun can put a beating on our equipment. It's all designed to function outside, so it's no problem installing it outside. I would say the overwhelming majority of our products are installed outside at the point of entry, right up alongside of the house where the water's coming in. That's the most common. But if we can be inside a utility room, inside a garage, and get it out of the sun, easier access for maintenance, easier access for the homeowner to doing the salt, and it's not getting beat up as badly. So that's a great way to do it, is to have it inside. It's ideal. We don't always get that. So
yeah, but if it's outside, you need a pad. If it's inside, garage floor is good enough.
Garage floor is good enough. We still need electricity. We need a drain access or a drain solution. In this home, we were able to go through the wall and connect to a main drain on the property.
Cool.
Right outside that wall. So
you can also do a French drain out there.
We can do a French drain. Yeah, we do
multiple
those.
Options.
Yep, multiple options. We can, if we're on a lake area, maybe we might have a high water table. We might be able to drain the street down into the ground and have it hit the water table. So it's just salt water that's going out.
Yeah.
But we do not want to drain into a septic system. We want to drain into city sewer. Or
I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
You don't want to go into the drain field.
Yeah. We can do some septic. It just gets a little tricky, and we got to make sure we're doing it right. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Typically, we just kind of avoid that, because what we don't want to have is a problem with the efficiency of the septic, and heaven forbid it came back on us.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, I mean, pretty simple. You need a loop, access to a drain, and you need a dedicated outlet, or it can be just a standard outlet. If it's outside, we need an outdoor outlet. Yep.
With the cover on it. Inside, standard 110 does not need its own breaker. It's just it's like plugging in an alarm clock.
Okay, that's not bad at all. And so this is obviously a whole home system. There's some upgrades that people can do, maybe like an RO system, interior stuff. So can you kind of walk us through what those might
and
be?
in fact, in this house, we have an RO system. They have a coffee bar area with its own sink, which also has a InstaFlash hot water heater as well. So we were able to kind of come in with an RO under counter, single source solution, and go through the hot water heater and provide cold into the RO faucet that they have at that location. So they've got, and RO is 99.99% pure water. We've removed everything.
Wow.
It's the only thing that removes fluoride, it removes TDS, all of the contaminants that are in the water are removed 100% basically. So that's RO. However, you've got a capacity restriction. We are only going to be producing 50, maybe 75 gallons a day. There are larger options. You could even do whole house RO, but you're getting into very significant systems when you go to that level. So ideal, water filtration for the whole house, maybe a blend of softener media to remove hardness and carbon to get the added benefits of health for carbon, removing some additional chemicals, removing the chlorine that is in city water.
Yep.
And then on the inside, we've got an RO system for ultra pure drinking water at the kitchen sink in a separate spigot. And then on this house, again, we did add the UVC lighting, which kills germs, disease, and COVID, microorganisms.
And RO means reverse osmosis.
Reverse osmosis, yeah.
So it's just, how does that exactly work?
So it's a series of cartridge filters that the water passes through. The first one is either a carbon rinse or a sediment filter, but it's collecting any particles and anything. And there's a lot, and especially here in Florida, we get silica, we get sand, we get actual things that kind of come through the water from the city. And it's removing all that. Then the next series is a carbon filter. That's removing chemicals. The last cartridge is a polish, and you're getting 99.99% pure water at that point.
Wow, and that can be at specific areas within the home.
Yeah, so there's a trend now. We're doing, some of the larger homes we're doing, customer might want access to RO water, reverse osmosis, at multiple locations. For instance, we did a house recently in Howey in the Hills, and the client had multiple islands in the kitchen, multiple access for RO. The client had a gym. They wanted RO healthy water near their gym. Very, very, very nice. But there were multiple locations. So what we're seeing is a little bit of a trend. We can put a hub on the wall in a utility room or in a garage or somewhere, and then we can run a PEX line, 3/8 or 1/4 inch or 1/2 inch PEX. We run to the various locations that the customer said, I want an RO faucet at the wet bar, at the outdoor kitchen, at the primary kitchen, at the prep kitchen, at the gym, you know, wherever they want it. We can install that faucet, and we've pre-run those lines to those locations. Traditional, more normal, this home, a single unit at the selected sink
at the
location.
Source.
Yeah, and that's giving them pure water at that location.
So when you're running it to multiple locations from a hub, is that something that needs to be part of our pre-plumbing package?
Yeah, so we need to do that at Ruffin. We need to kind of be able to run those
or even
lines.
pre-slab.
Not pre-slab.
Okay, so it's going to go through your walls.
Correct. It's going through the walls, and it's 3/4 inch PEX or 1/2 inch PEX.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of the plumber knowing that we're going to need it. Basically, it's a little early, and we're not able to retrofit that. So if you want multiple locations, it's multiple units.
Well, I was just thinking about like island situations. Typically, that's freestanding. Like getting it to a wall in a gym, no problem. Run it through the studs and anything that you have.
Yep.
But running it to an island, it would be nice to have that under and have it there.
Yeah, if we're that early in the program, and usually we are with our builders, you know, we've got RO marked for PEX to be there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, and that island, it's going to have cold water, hot water service at the island. I'm tapping into the cold water for RO. So,
got it. Okay,
so I'm going to tee off that, and that'll be our supply.
That specific line. That makes sense.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I was like, how do you get there? But
yeah, no, we'll tee off of what's there. So.
Okay, anything, so you guys also, this is Vesta, but you have multiple lines that you guys carry.
We have our top end, our premium line, kind of the creme de la creme. Basically, our little elevator pitch is if the customer is putting in Bosch, Miele, Wolf, Sub-Zero, Viking, Dacor, Gaggenau. If you're putting in those very, very high-end appliances, we have a matching quality. Our product is called Infinity, Pure Infinity, and that line really does match that quality level. It has upgraded media inside the tank. It has upgraded valve features. It has a longer warranty, things of that nature. So that's the Infinity brand, kind of matched to that high-end product level. Vesta is our biggest brand. We sell the most of these. We do a lot of production builders where we know we're going to put in a whole slew of houses. Vesta is our typical brand for a solution like that. So,
but you have a solution for pretty much anyone and anything that they would need.
Yep, and we've got a local supply, which is a little more of a budget-friendly product line. It doesn't have really that brand essence that goes with it, but we're able to source the media and build out a unit pretty much the same.
Wow, that's really cool. This is, I mean, we saw you at the show. Obviously, we know you before that, but I really appreciate this. This is awesome. So if you're looking for a water solution in your house to soften it, clean up the water, get high quality, let Chris know, and he's happy to help you out. Thanks so much for watching.